Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Culture Nerd Podcast. Sorry we missed last week. I don't know what happened, but here we are this week. So this week we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about the Fantastic Four movie. We're going to talk about the future of DC as a whole and the news that came out of the whole WB earnings call the other day. We're going to talk about the Batman Part 2, how it's actually in pre-production now. And we're going to talk a lot more about just DC, Marvel, and everything in between. Without further ado, let's start talking. Here we are.
Where do you want to start? What do you want to jump into first?
Let's jump into the obvious thing that we talked about. We were going to talk about last time, but we didn't. Let's talk Fantastic Four for a minute because I got some weird amount of heat on social media for saying that I thought the movie was a 7. And they were like, but you loved Superman. I'm like, yeah, I love Superman. It was a fucking better movie. So
okay. So this is a problem because I completely agree with you that in both of those things, the movie is wildly forgettable.
Yeah.
It was very safe in all of its choices, and it also feels like a little too late out of Marvel. I will also say, why do they make Mr. Fantastic look awful? Now, what I don't mean I don't mean like the bad CGI. In cartoons, in the comic books, he stretches a lot and for very long distances, and he does it all the time. He does Snake Man stuff.
He turns himself into springs. He does like giant fists.
They won't show any of that.
Also, can we also talk about the fact that in the last like 15 to 20 years, everyone hates Mr. Fantastic. Like, he is apparently this nihilistic, pessimistic, not fun character. And they even did that in this film. And I'm like, wow, I don't like Mr. Fantastic anymore. And I think it's because you guys just suck at portraying him. Because was there like some shift in his character? Like, or just the last 20 years, everyone hates him now?
I don't feel like everyone hates him. He is on the Mount Rushmore of Marvel super intelligences, which I don't think they did a good enough job of showing off. And I also feel like that's where his character maybe has evolved to over time, but that's not who he was on year 3. On year 3, he was still kind of a fun guy. He would still kind of be jovial.
Right. I mean, he was never a bad character. He was never a bummer of a character, but it just seems like in the comics, it was like the moment they introduced Mr. Fantastic being a part of the Illuminati, ever since they did that in the comics, they've just been like, oh, now he's just a bad dude, kind of. And even in this movie where he was like, I'm supposed to think about all the bad things all the time, and maybe we should just sacrifice our child. And I'm like, is that who you really are? Because every time growing up, Mr. Fantastic was always the guy like, family before anything else. I will move heaven and earth to protect my people. And now he's like, maybe we should just sacrifice our son. Maybe it's the way to do it. Like, I was watching this movie and I'm like, what happened to Mr. Fantastic? Because like I grew up, my dad being a huge Fantastic Four fan. You remember this. He was really big on this whole, like, the 60s TV show was his jam because that's when he was a kid. And I grew up watching that. And Mr. Fantastic, as in the 60s TV show, was just this hella positive, hella optimistic dude. And then ever since the what was his name?
Well, I'm not going to know. You're going to have
Tim Story?
Okay.
Tim Story, right? I think ever since Tim Story did those first 2 Fantastic Four movies, ever since then, like even those movies, he was kind of positive and optimistic. And then ever since then, the comics and everything has been like, he is a cynic. And he looks at only the bad things in life. And I'm like, that, not even the ultimate Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, where he was just like basically autistic. Not even that version of Mr. Fantastic was a pessimist.
But isn't he also super? Aren't they really young in that one?
I don't remember, dude. You were the one who loved that book more
It's
than
in the
I did.
garage. I got to go through the box. I want to say they were young in that.
I remember you being like, "This is wild," and Doctor Doom's a hacker, and he has like a Super Nintendo strapped to his wrist, and like you were you like gushed over how weird that version of Doctor Doom was, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna read the Ultimate X-Men still because at least it's coherent. I was so confused by your ramblings about that book.
I had a bunch of one-off. I had a bunch of small comic book runs in the mid 2000s that didn't go anywhere.
Seriously, I have a bunch of those too. I still have a bunch of my old Extreme X-Men comics, which were like that was a weird run.
Yeah.
That was a fun run, but I don't know, that movie. It just felt like there was all these rumors and all this gossip and all this talk about how this movie was going to be this and that, and this was going to be this woke thing they added in, and this was that. And I'm like, none of that turned out to be true, with the sole exception of Sue Richards being kind of the main character and the smartest person in the group, because she was running like the UN and she was like the voice of reason for every conversation. And I'm like, I can kind of see that, but that didn't even seem accurate either.
Yeah, I don't know. That didn't bother me, that Sue Richards on this planet was using her stardom to actually do something and change the world for better.
That's fine.
That didn't bother me. I like the portrayals of them. I think they did a very safe Fantastic Four story.
Yeah,
like we didn't. You know.
Okay, so this is something that I wanted to ask you on, because you watched it, I watched it. Were you kind of expecting like an 11th hour reveal that Johnny Storm was gay? Because it kind of felt like they were, oh, he's this. And I'm like, they're going to just do this at the end, but they probably chickened out and cut it out. But I'm like, watching it, I'm like, I kind of feel like that's what they told him, we're going to do this, and they just didn't do it.
Maybe if he wants to be the first, if he wants to be the bisexual dude in the fruit punch and just be hitting on everybody and being like, Scarlet Witch, you're a hot lady, and Vision being like, that's my wife, and he's like, I'm into you too,
buddy.
why are we let's eat these things up. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, like it just seemed like there was a lot of stuff that I was watching this film and I'm like, it feels like they were toying with the ideas and then they cut it out and made it safe. So
one of the things that we talked about in all those other Superman movies forever is I just want to see Superman punch a monster, which we finally got. Should the Thing have punched a mole monster? Should we have seen him do something insane?
I was legitimately upset when they were flying to Galactus and he said, if he just turns out to be a giant human, you can punch him. And I'm like, he is, punch him. And he didn't. He didn't even get close enough to punch him. Even the part where he's ramming through the building, and I'm like, he's going to hit his foot and it's going to be wonderful. He didn't even get that close.
It was very safe.
Yeah,
I liked the movie. It just didn't. I don't know. When I texted Taylor about it, he said it felt like the good episode of the Saturday morning cartoon,
right.
And yeah, it was the best version of that.
It felt like the 90s Saturday morning cartoon that we all watched, where it had that really poppy, really like catchy theme song, but it felt like they did 3 or 4 episodes just back to back and rushed through it really fast. Like the first chunk of the movie felt like it was on fast forward, where there's world building just on fast forward. And then you had a lot of slow moments where Reed was contemplating and having like this existential crisis. And I'm like, wow, this is pacing it was the opposite for Superman. You know, like the first chunk of Superman was really slow world building, and then it went into overdrive. And it was kind of the other way around with this film, where it was overdrive and then slowed it down.
I appreciated that there wasn't a lot of video game talk in this. There wasn't a lot of, I need you to flip that switch over there. Right? Like, they went to space. They did all of these, like all of that stuff I liked a lot. It just wasn't memorable. And they put that thing where they took it out of the main canon universe, right? It's we don't know.
And that's why it was safe, right?
Right.
There's no repercussions to the greater MCU. And now we're like, they saved the universe. 4 years later, here's a Doctor Doom tease. And now we somehow expect them to travel to this Earth and be like, by the way, Doom's here. We ran from him. Like, is
the implication that Doom, the Doom in their universe, pulls the MCU over to this battle world,
or the other way around? He goes to their world to screw it up. But I don't know. I had thoughts. I had questions. It felt like a very safe movie. Some of the CGI was absolutely fantastic. The Thing looked fantastic, but anytime the Thing touched the baby looked like a cartoon.
Yeah, the baby CG. They didn't want a real baby. I get it.
There was a real baby. That's the weird part. It was
What?
legitimately a real baby, but the CGI they used on the baby to make him match the Thing made him look like a cartoon.
Yeah, the baby looked weird at times. Weird. It didn't look like the Flash babies, but it did look. It was a weird baby.
It was a weird baby. A couple of spots, I'm just like, something's off with this baby. Something's wrong with him.
It looked. Listen, I dug. The movie felt that retro style makes it feel like the Watchmen universe. I kept thinking this feels like a Watchmen movie, like some existential crisis. These are the 4 most powerful beings, because we saw big villains. Also, did we see the? Oh no, that's the other movie. Never mind. Wait, didn't we see a part where just they like get rid of 3 Fantastic Four villains all of a sudden, like drones go
in fast succession? Yeah,
they just go like, don't have to worry about this stuff. Like, why not show us one of those raids?
Here's a montage for all the nerds who actually cared about these characters, but anyone else would be like, what was the point of that? Like, that's what it felt like.
I like the logistics of the world. I like I like the way that they integrated like other places within that universe. It just like, I don't know. I don't know. It feels like I've been let down by so many other movies. And the reportings on the Thunderbolts was that it was not profitable at the end when everything was said and done.
Thunderbolts, great reviews, great word of mouth, fantastic opening weekend. Nothing else happened with it. And then the same kind of thing happened with this one, like Fantastic Four. Stellar reviews, solid opening weekend, huge second weekend drop off. Third weekend is about to begin. They're expecting an even bigger drop off. They think it's going to break even, and that's it.
It's not fun. It's good, but it's not like a fun movie. Superman was fun. I saw it twice, and I wanted to see it twice. There are moments that I wanted to relive. When I think about this movie, there's a couple of good scenes, but I don't know if I want to like live in them. I don't know if I want to like be a fly on the wall in any of that stuff.
So I was doing a Q&A today because I just had the time for it. And someone asked me to expand upon this in the podcast. And this is what I want to read up. They said, after the earnings call, Warner Brothers had basically said, yes, Superman's a big success. We're very happy with it. James Gunn is already working on the sequel. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Of which he's directing, which is like Mazel Tov. Thank goodness.
Yeah. And they said, with everything coming up, Warner Brothers is clearly very happy with Superman. Why is that? Because they're like, it's made good money, but it's not like holy shit good money, right? It's looking like that after this weekend is going to cross the 600 million mark. And then it's going to finish out around 640, 650. And that's what everyone's kind of anticipating, which is fantastic. But also Superman, right? It should be higher. And the reason why Warner Brothers is so happy with it was because they were very smart with the marketing this time around. They didn't go nuts on it. They didn't do tie-ins and promotions that cost them more than the movie cost. But on paper, this is the first wildly successful, highly praised, highly talked about DC film that literally has overcome the baggage that came with the last universe. And this is why this was so important to people, because whether you love the Snyderverse or you didn't, because I loved it, I know you did, it had baggage. Don't
put those words in my mouth. I'm fine with it. I like it for what it is. Yeah. It's fine. And
or rather, you liked the Snyder directed ones, and then the rest were kind of eh.
I feel like he stuck the landing when he did his director's cut during the pandemic. Yeah. I really feel that like, this is what this should have been the entire time.
Right.
But I was there for every single moment. And the initial releases of those movies, besides, I guess, Man of Steel, all the other ones were tampered with. And it's when you tell me the third version of the movie is good, okay, but I saw the first 2 and they were not good. So the fact that I also think the fact that he made a movie and they didn't do all the other stuff, it's over. They get to now make another movie, and they also showed that roadmap, right? So we're going to get like 2 superhero movies a year, a couple of other ones, some horror from New Line, right? But it's not like it's like 12 movies a year, right? It's not like 30.
Well, so Warner Brothers as a studio announced that they're doing between, I think it was like 12 and 15 movies this next year is their big plan, and they're going to ramp up from there. Like they're getting back into the swing of things, and that tells me right off the bat Warner Brothers is finally profitable again, which is yay.
Wow.
And they also announced that Warner Brothers and Discovery are properly splitting and becoming 2 separate companies again. But Zaslav is sticking with Warner Brothers, which is probably the biggest tell of how confident he is in how Warner Brothers is going to function going forward. That's big. That's big for people who are paying attention, because for this guy to come in, slash everything, basically leave it to a husk, bring it back into profit territory, and leave his original company that made him like a multimillionaire to stick with Warner Brothers, that shows you the confidence he has in Warner Brothers, which is just fantastic. But with this earning call, they said flat out, Superman was a success for them. It was a huge win. Audiences liked it. Critics liked it. There's still social media naysayers. That is what it is. But it's still making money. And it's still going to be exactly where they want it to be, because their target was $500 million for successful. Not breaking even, for successful. And it's already projected to finish well above that.
I feel like maybe people are holding it to a different standard. You know, the last couple, I think this, what Taylor said, think about all the other movies that were there. Shazam 2, Blue Beetle, the Rock in Egypt. I mean, there was a number, the Flash movie and all of the issues. I mean, they had a number.
The first Aquaman broke $1 billion.
Right.
Aquaman broke $1 billion. The second one, nowhere near as good as the first one.
Nowhere, no. So the fact that, and those movies are not spoken of well. So the fact that you have a movie that like is respectable and like people went and saw it, that's a really great, solid jumping off point for whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and the proximity of the last universe with those movies is still very fresh in people's minds. So enough people gave this movie a chance and said, yeah, okay, this is a reboot. This is good. Okay, I'm on board. So that's pretty unheard of in today's society for movies.
So then what does Marvel do? Like at this point, what? Okay, because I'm sure there is one. What's the next movie coming out?
The next Marvel movie?
Yeah.
Doomsday.
Wow. And that's supposed to be next year?
Yeah. And then after that, Secret Wars. And Spider-Man is somewhere in there.
Okay, Spider-Man somewhere in there.
But the Spider-Man's I want to talk a lot about the Spider-Man stuff because I'm really excited about it. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But they've officially gone back on the conversation of saying after Secret War, they're going to do a soft reboot and retool the whole universe. So there's going to be a butt ton of recastings and a butt ton of confusing hodgepodge mixes of current and old castings and new people and old roles.
Do you think that's what attracted Tom Holland to come back, that he has a way out of all of this? Or do you think
Possibly.
Or do you think this was like, oh, I'm going to do 2-3 more of these and then that'll be it?
Yeah, and then they could just reboot the character, and maybe that's what they're going to do. But Marvel, I don't know what Marvel's going to do, because I read this article and they talked about how there is damage to the Disney brand with general audiences and fans alike, where billion-dollar projects coming out of Marvel and Star Wars are struggling because of 1 or 2 or even 3 projects here and there that missed the mark so hard that people just don't care anymore about the universes.
Yeah, Star Wars especially. I mean,
right?
You're gonna need like a Steven, it's almost like you need to go back to like the cinema standards and make like Steven Spielberg. And I don't even know if Spielberg has it in him to do it, but like you need a movie to feel special again, and that is not what's going on with Star Wars.
Yeah, and they've gone back to the drawing board. They canceled a bunch of projects quietly. The Rian Johnson trilogy is not a thing. It's dead in the water. It's never happening. The Rey project went back to the drawing board, and the only 2 things that are moving forward officially, well, I mean, Ahsoka season 2 is well into production right now.
The Grogu movie's done.
This Mandalorian and Grogu, which comes out this spring, and then Star Wars Starfighter, and everything coming out of Starfighter just absolutely is like, they're doing the right thing. Let's do this. And they got Ryan Gosling as the lead, Matt Smith, Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, is officially the villain, and they have a fresh jumping off point because it's like set 5 years after episode 9. So it's kind of in this fresh post Empire, post everything, clearing the distance of all the stuff people didn't care for. So we'll see what they do with it. But there's only 3 things that Star Wars really doing right now, and people are happy with it. So hopefully it recaptures general audiences, because after episode 9 and The Acolyte, people gave up on Star Wars.
See, and I don't know how well Mandalorian Grogu. Everyone who watches that show will go watch the anime movie, right? Everyone who watches the show, who likes the show, is gonna go see that. But I don't know if it's something I can bring. Like your mom has to watch 3 seasons of this to know what's going on, and maybe honestly, even Ahsoka.
Maybe, but everyone I know who's into Star Wars just a little bit watched The Mandalorian, whether or not they saw anything else. So, I mean, even my dad, he didn't care about the new trilogy at all. I don't even think he watched episode 9, but he watched all the Mandalorian. He thought that was fun.
He watched the episode where Lizzo and Jack Black were the leaders on that planet.
He didn't understand why they were in the show.
Okay, good. Okay, listen, I'm just making sure
just
you
like
watched the whole show.
Else. Just like everyone else, he's like the whole internet was like, this is the weirdest guest casting for no reason.
Well, let's go back to Warner Brothers, because we'll bring up what the picture was of the episode. The fact that they are excited about their roster and where they're going. Now we're talking about a movie that we're very excited for. What is happening with the Pattinson Batman?
So the script was turned in. The script was accepted. The script was in love. The movie officially started pre-production earlier this week. It's happening. It's finally happening. Principal photography is supposed to start in January, and actual on-the-ground cameras rolling filming starting this spring.
And that's for what's his name to finish shooting the Nolan movie, which just wrapped.
Yeah.
So he's going to go do a world press tour.
Gives him time to finish Dune, because that's what he's working on next. He's the villain of Dune 3. So it allows him to go do that. And a bunch of stuff started coming out. People are like, oh my God, this is happening. This is happening. James Gunn have just debunking everything. Earlier today, Jeff Snyder,
it's so nice to have somebody just come out and shoot this shit down so we can just clear the way. What did he shoot down?
All right. So earlier today, Jeff Snyder, he was a big reporter in Variety. He was like the name on the street, did everything right until he stopped doing everything right. And then people like kind of look at him as like this disgraced scooper kind of a way.
Is he on the Epstein list? Why are we canceling him? What did he do?
There was this, I remember this one time he said that nothing happens in Hollywood without me knowing it. I know everything. And people were like, you're so full of shit, dude.
Okay.
And so he just became really full of himself. Right. So he put out in his podcast, his newsletter, whatever, his subscription thing, that Matt Reeves is putting Robin in the sequel. And this was something that we've heard before. A lot of people have heard this for a long time now.
The first movie has a young man lose his father, and we kind of see some inclinations of what's going on.
The teases and the hinting had been there for the longest time. And we already knew that Matt Reeves wanted to do this just from his comments on the character and all this. Like, everyone saw this coming. So he comes out and said it like, this is happening. Boom. Scoop confirmed. Suck it, internet. James Gunn went on Threads and flat out was like, guys, please stop believing this nonsense. I think 6 of us have read the script. No one knows anything about the Batman 2. And just shut it down. Funny enough, nothing in this statement says it's not actually happening.
He didn't confirm or deny anything.
He didn't confirm or deny anything. He literally just said, stop believing this nonsense.
Because 6 people, he's read it. The guy who wrote it read it. Probably
his co-writer has written it. His co-chair of DC has written it, and then probably David Zaslav has written it.
And maybe James Gunn's wife, right? She
maybe she's like sitting there on the couch, like,
she was looking over. What are you reading? Yeah.
So that not a lot of people have seen it. Funny enough, this could just mean that no, this report that this guy says this is happening, that's bullshit. It may actually be happening, but it's a shot in the dark that he's saying is not accurate because this guy claimed that he has insider information that confirmed it.
Based on the events of the Penguin TV show, aren't we going to be dealing with a flooded Gotham?
Still, right. And the longest standing rumors for this project was that it was going to be set in the winter. Mr. Freeze was going to be present, and he was going to be using the floods to amplify his bullshit with his ice gun. So,
that's
probably not even going to be in the case anymore.
Well, I like the idea of winter because then we can see. I like that idea. If we do winter, we could have Batmobile, Bat Snowmobile, which was a big hit, a toy in the 90s,
and the Bat Boat.
Well, if they keep water, we're gonna get a fucking Bat Boat. We're gonna get a Bat Boat into a Bat jet ski.
Yeah, or like that 3-in-1 triple changer toy where the boat turns into the car, which turns into the plane. Just have the super vehicle.
Killer Croc works in a movie about water. If you make him some weird like waterman, that works.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things, and James Gunn has said that this is the grounded universe that Matt Reeves is making. Matt Reeves has said there's no reason that there couldn't be anything fantastical in this universe, but he has to find a way to justify it. So,
okay, so then maybe they make a breakthrough in freezing technology,
or they just do what they did on the Gotham show, where he's trying to find a way to make it work without killing people in the process, and he makes this weird. They explain the science as he's doing it, and it's like this works, but it also doesn't work and kills people in the process. Like you can make it happen. You spend more than 30 seconds. Not just say he uses diamonds to make ice lasers. Like if you explain it, audiences will accept it.
Chill out. How long was the first movie? It's like 3 hours, right?
It's close enough, right? They had to put an intermission in it, and they even said this movie's long as shit. Everyone, we're gonna pause it and give you 10 minutes.
If we have another movie of that length, I don't know if we can get Robin and 3 villains, because we had.
Why not? I mean, in the Batman Part 1, we had like 5 or 6 villains in that film.
I know, but I'm trying to think of I guess the Robin of that movie was Catwoman.
Yeah. And then you also had Penguin, you had the Falcone, you had the Riddler, and you had that Joker tease, and you had the bodyguards at the nightclub, which were Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And then you
feel like you got to have Joker in this movie. You got to have what's his name.
Hard. You got to do something with it.
Yeah.
You got to just do more with Arkham there. You got to at least put some bit of more of
that. Arkham got flooded. The basement's flooded and it turned off the electricity, and those guys have all broken out.
Yeah, they got to be. But
so Batman turns to a 12-year-old. That's the only person that can help him round this all up.
Okay, so Matt Reeves has made it very clear that his favorite Batman-related comics are the Jeff Loeb stuff. Do what they did in that comic, right? He takes in the kid to give him a new life. The kid breaks into the Batcave, takes a cape, a bunch of weapons, and runs out in the street and wreaks some havoc. Batman shows up and says, "No, but if I can't stop you, I'm going to teach you how to not get yourself killed."
This is what happened to Batman Forever.
Right? So if you do it the correct way and just not be like, let's just take him with me. But it's like, no, dude, no. You're a child. I'm not doing this. I'm going to teach you how to fight, but don't use it. Like, don't walk around don't do the animated thing where he's like swinging from rooftops with the child with him. Like, he's got to
have a suit, and it's got to be basically like Batman's old suit. Like, it doesn't fit him anymore, so he gets this suit.
Or literally just have Robin be like, I found all your prototypes, and I pieced them together, and I have a cape and a hood.
And
just do what he did in Halloween, where he's like, I call my mom used to read me the stories of Robin Hood, so I'm going to be Robin Hood now. And then Batman's like, dangerous as hell. Hoods are dangerous. He's like, fine, no hood, just Robin then. And that's how you do that, just like they did in the comics, where he made that exact conversation.
To be fair, the Incredibles also made a point that nobody should have a cape. So I don't know how Batman feels about his cape.
I don't know. I mean, we didn't see him have any drawbacks with the cape in this one. Sure. We did see that he doesn't know how to skydive, and
we did see that, which means he has to be good at it in this movie. I think we see him flying from building to building.
I feel like he's just going to be like, that was a mistake. Let's use my money to build better stuff.
Get some more hooky thingies. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that this movie could do. James Gunn didn't debunk anything about Robin. He just said that the report from Jeff Snyder was nonsense and stopped listening to him. But
what's the timeline then for the Supergirl? Because obviously he probably has ideas, but he hasn't written it yet. So what is the time frame for that movie?
All right, so then that's the other part, because I mean, we're going to step away from the Batman. We're going to talk about the next thing that Warner Brothers wanted to set up for the future. Supergirl is already filmed, done, and in post. The movie is done. They already did it. Yeah, they did the film. It's based on the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow story. And the step off point from Superman is that she is a party girl who doesn't know where her place in the universe is. But in the comic, it's kind of the similar thing. She's trying to step out of her cousin's shadow, but she also wants to figure out who she is in the universe. And then she discovers what it means to be a hero, and she is that hero.
Very cool.
We know, obviously, Crypto's going to be with her. So Crypto's going to be back in the theaters again very soon. We know Jason Momoa is Lobo, and he's hired to hunt her ass down because he's a bounty hunter.
Hell yeah.
And we don't know much else about it other than if you read the comic, you'll get an idea what the plot's about, which is fine. But they said in the conference that the follow-up to Superman is going to be a super family-centered project, which means it's going to be Superman and Supergirl together in a film versus somebody.
And that would be Superman 2.
The Superman 2 / Supergirl 2. So it's going to be the sequel to both of those. Neither a direct sequel, but a next progression in the story, which means they can still have their solo films after that. But my thought is, call the movie The House of L. Just do the full like Game of Thrones, House of Dragon thing. Just play on that a little bit. The House of L, and have Superman and Supergirl team up to fight the sentient computer of Krypton, Brainiac. Brainiac has not come up to full power yet, but he's coming down searching for them because they are the last two Kryptonians, and he wants them for his collection.
If that's going to happen, do you think we see teases of it in the next movie with little Brainiac bots zooming around or something?
Maybe, but at the same time, all we know is that James Gunn said that their whole goal with DC is not to make movies that cliffhanger off into the next one. There'll be pieces of things that are shown later on, but nothing like the movie ends and here comes Superman flying through the clouds saying, Black Adam, don't mess around, I'll have to beat your ass. Like, you're not going to have that kind of stuff. You're not going to have the teases for the bigger fight later. You're just going to have, oh yeah, this is her dog and she's gone now. And that was like the closest thing. They established that she exists and the dog belongs to her.
How much space do you think we're going to get? Do you think we get a lot of space?
There's a lot of space.
Okay, so we're going to see different aliens, lots of different shapes and sizes.
I hope that they explain the Ran. I hope that we see Thanagar. I hope that we see
more lanterns.
More lanterns. Maybe they make reference to Oa a few times, or maybe just some other random, like a lantern comes up and says, "You're in the wrong sector. Your guy's problem. Go back to Earth." And like stuff like that. Like I want to see them be weird with it and just establish this fleshed out universe. But the third one, the Super Family, make it Superman and Supergirl versus Brainiac, or Lex is now in prison. They're going through all of his shit, and they find a teenage clone that is a mixture of Superman and Lex's DNA, and introduce Connor, and then springboard Connor into the Titans. So you can do a lot of stuff with this, but the fact that they called it a super family movie means obviously Superman, Supergirl, and Krypto.
Yeah,
there's got to be more to it.
I was gonna say, I think we're talking Superboy. I think you're talking that over. Like, who else are we missing? Steel. Who else are we missing from the Super family?
I mean Steel and Superboy. There's like 3 different Superboys. There's that Chinese Superman, but that doesn't count yet because that's not in the comics, or that's not in the comics enough legacy wise for them to want to make it in the film just yet. And the only other thing that is there is Superman and Lois have a kid, but that's way too early in the story to introduce a baby.
It's way too early in their relationship.
They
not
just said I love
that.
you to each other for the first time.
Let them be in the honeymoon phase, and then they'll do that later on.
They're not even in the wedding phase.
They're not even in the wedding phase.
I kind of like you a bit more than I admitted the phase.
Do you think we see? I bet we see Superman's wedding on film.
I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later, but yeah, that would be a thing.
Maybe at the beginning of the third movie, the Super Family movie, because Lois is also part of that family. She is also part of the family.
Yeah, I mean, they could also. There's a lot of things they could do with that, but
is it too blasphemous to have General Zod fight Superman and Supergirl? Is that if they?
Now, wouldn't that be a fun one, honestly?
Because then you would have the council, and Zod would turn to her and be like, "Why are you're a god, right? Why are you listening to this guy over here? We can rule all of this. You heard the message, right?
That
you were supposed to take many wives."
To me, that would actually be a very fun starting off point. Like, do Brainiac, the sentient computer of Krypton, or do the original Brainiac, where he's an alien who turned himself into a cyborg, turned off his emotions, and then decided to start collecting things. So he's still flawed, but he's not Krypton. Like you can do a couple different takes with Brainiac, but if you do that, you can easily have Zod show up and say, I am here to restore Krypton's legacy. Superman, you were sent here to be a part of this mission. You rejected it, and your teenage cousin, who should have been aware, you're leading her astray. We are here for this purpose, and we need to rebuild Krypton because we lost it. And it's a conflict of ideologies as well as fistfights.
Do you also feel that Super Family movie is the introduction of what will be the Justice League?
I think we'll get more to it. Well, I mean, whatever happens in the Super Family film is probably going to be where Superman sits down and said, that shit was tough. Maybe we should have a team that protects this planet. And that could be where they introduce this idea that, okay, yeah, the Justice Gang is a good idea, but we're not thinking big enough.
Yeah. I think if we get this, we're getting the satellite station, right? We're getting them in low Earth
that would
orbit.
Just be the way you do it, right? Like you have them recruiting, and then you recruit Ted Kord. You got Mr. Terrific, and then Batman comes in, and they're like, between three of us, we can make teleporters and
I was about to say, Batman is the money. You gotta bring Bruce Wayne in, but
he's not the only money. Like if you introduce Batman, Ted Kord, and Ollie Queen, and be like, the three of us, we bought the fucking moon. Like, just do that. Like, like introduce. Like we've already seen the movie where we accept that Lex made a teleporter by jumping through a pocket dimension.
Yeah, and that was totally justified. So if they find the better version of it,
and then all it takes is Mr. Terrific saying the idiot should have just done this instead, and he had an easier teleporter without killing everybody. And they're like, continue that idea.
And he got all that technology when his little balls scanned.
He confiscated it. He scanned everything and confiscated what he could.
Do the Justice League ever have a moon base, or are they just in the satellite station?
They have the satellite, and then they have the Hall of Justice, and they use a teleporter between the two of them.
Okay. You can just put it on the moon entrance, too. Yeah.
There's the Earth entrance and there's a space entrance.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely feel like if we get a space universe, we're going to space.
In my mind, if audiences can accept a Sonic movie where Dr. Robotnik has a giant ass satellite with his mustache on it, you can accept the Justice League having a satellite station.
For sure. They should also put a mustache on it.
They should, because why not? A ball cut and a mustache.
I also wonder when we start getting like Martian Manhunter and those type of people. I feel like if we're going to space, those people need to show up soon.
They're probably already on the Earth. I just need to walk in the room at the right time and be like, all right, guys, I'm in.
The maid the whole time.
The maid is the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, I've been here the whole time. I've been doing garbage cans. I have something to say.
It's like, Enrique, what are you doing? He's like, I'm actually John.
I'm not Enrique.
I'm also Enrique.
His cookies are there, right? His favorite cookies are in the universe.
Actually, I didn't notice it until my second viewing, but that conference group in the beginning with the Hammer was like, I'm here to kill all of you. That was actually a PR meeting for the Oreos. And I was watching it, I'm like, holy crap, they're right there.
Yeah, it went right over my head. I was watching that guy yell at them.
It took a minute for me to notice it because I'm like, wow, this is a really 60s looking room. It's all blue and holy shit, there's an Oreo. They're talking about the Oreos. Here we go.
All right, so Marvel's on the way down. DC's on the way up. Is there anything in between we need to touch?
I bought a bunch of Pokemon cards. So
I know. Listen, we'll have to save that for another day.
I'll have to save that about another time. Was there anything else that I wanted to talk about? I felt like I said I was going to say something else.
You watching Wednesday?
I didn't.
Okay.
I will eventually. I liked the first season, but I heard the second season is really downhill, but it's also the first half. So we'll see how it is in the whole retrospect. They
got a lot of characters, and everyone wanted to come back. I don't know. You watching? What else? What else is going on right now?
Solo Leveling still hasn't been announced for its third season, but I read through all the manga and I loved the ending. The ending was amazing. I want that to be finished already, but I also think it's going to be darker than hell.
I think it's going to take a long time to get there.
It's going to take a long time to get there because that's going to be a long time. Demon Slayer, the first movie of 3, hit Japan, blew a bunch of records, and now people are expecting it to do the same in America for an animated foreign film. So that's going to be sweet.
Yo, the anime numbers, like Netflix really talked about their metrics about how high their anime numbers are. I feel like
I think Netflix realized that if they want to really succeed, they're just going to start importing a lot of anime. I think they've realized that too.
Just start importing it all.
Yeah, just be like, we're just going to become the new Crunchyroll and just do a bunch more, because Dan to Dan is doing amazing numbers for them. One Piece is doing amazing numbers for them. Speaking of interesting numbers, this is the first year in the last 30 years that Gundam has actually surpassed Dragon Ball Z in sales.
I believe it. Toriyama passed away. There hasn't been a television show. Yeah. There hasn't been
apparently Bandai had released that Gundam is now their most profitable franchise. And that's pretty crazy, because they have like stuff like Naruto and like One Piece and stuff for merch and stuff, and they're like, yeah, it's Gundam came out of nowhere. Sweet.
Have they? I know that there are talks, but have they started the finish off Super? Is that show been announced?
They have, nothing's been announced. The big talk on the street is that Torotaru is finally ready to move on with it. Like, he's ready to make it happen. All the people that were standing in the way trying to milk it too far, those talks have stopped, and they're going to be moving in the direction that fans want, but it's just taking a long ass time. It was a very messy custody battle. Yeah. And I think the custody battle is finally over, and we may get some answers soon.
Okay.
Because I really liked Daima. I don't know about you, but I thought it was fantastic. It was a Dragon Ball story with Dragon Ball Z and super style animation, and that was great.
Yeah, and if they're gonna be so true to the characters and in that style, I would be fine with another one. I would maybe want
more Daima. That was fun.
I would also like to see another Dragon Ball Z type show. I would love to see a show in that kind of a throwback, if you will. There's only 12 episodes. I don't know what they do. Maybe you have a couple of villains merged together. I don't know. I just feel like there's something there.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what the second half of Super is. And I'm really like, you got the Moro arc, the Granola arc. The comic version of the superhero stuff is way better than the movie, and I like the movie a lot. And then they sounds like they're finally going to wrap up the manga with the Black Frieza arc, and I think they do all of that, and they give us the ending that we need for the show too. Good, let's do it.
Hell yeah!
But on that note, since we missed last week, we went along on this week. So Michael, take us home.
We're Sleepy Peepees. It's the end of a long week. If you would like to help us support around here, head on over to the patreon.com/theculturednerd. If you're watching this online, please like, comment, subscribe. Send this to other people if you think this is a relevant conversation that you would like them to be a part of. Taylor Murphy's been your host. Me, Michael Santella, am your co-host. What'd I mess up?
Nothing. I just said, what's up? You said, I'm your host. I said, what's up?
Thank you, Taylor. Scan that code. Send this to people that should be talking about this. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see all you kids and cats next time.
And as a special thing to kind of just let everyone know, we are officially moving forward with some more shows. We got some traction on some of the other stuff. The Culture Gamer is going to relaunch and be a thing. We're also talking about doing like a weekly live show called the TCN Roundtable, where we all kind of just get on and shoot the shit together. So that might be a thing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, just talk about anything we want. And just the 5 hosts just doing whatever the hell they want. So that might be fun. No structured no structured script or plan. Just what do y'all want to talk about? Cool. Do you do about this? Then just talk about it.
Yeah.
So that could be a lot of fun. Could be a mess. Could be all the things. We'll find out. But thank you for joining us, everyone. See you all next time.
Bye-bye.